sometimes when you talk about the heart, it refers to natural tendency man have to do evil. In the book of Psalm chapter 51 verse 10, David said, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." Here, heart means our moral tendency, which need forgiveness and renewal. In Ezekiel 36 verse 26, the Bible promises that God will give us a new heart and put a new spirit within us. Heart here means transformation and renewal as well. In Mark chapter 12 verse 30, Jesus commands us to love the Lord with all our heart, all our soul, and all our strength. Here, the heart means our natural inclination, uh, our whole self, giving all our whole self to the worship and obedience to God. Of course, even in Revelation chapter 3 verse 20, Jesus said, "I behold, I stand at the door of your heart and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in to him and eat with him, and he with me." Heart here refers to our choice. Our choice. Imagine the owner of our life. God is the one who created us, I suppose you know. And the owner who created us said he stands at the door of your heart and knock. If you do open, he comes in. That is to say, humans have choice of accepting or not accepting God into their heart. So heart here refers to our choice. In the book of Genesis, the Bible said that God cast his gaze upon humanity, and behold, that the condition of their heart was one of the perpetual wickedness. This observation suggests that man's inherent nature is inclined towards wrongdoing and moral corruption without end. It is a sobering reminder of the fragility and the imperfection of the human condition, as well as a call of action for individuals to strive towards righteousness and purity in thoughts, words, and deed. So, indeed, this message serves as a reminder to remind us about the complexity of human morality and our constant struggle to overcome our baser instincts in pursuit of goodness and virtue. So the heart, from all that we have said, means the mind. The heart means our thoughts. The heart means our central tendency, our innermost tendency, our nature as human being, and it also means the originator of all events in our life. Just like Proverbs chapter 4 verse 23 made us to understand that out of the heart comes the issues of life. So most of the thing that was going to happen in your life is a function of your heart, because your heart is the one that instructs your body on what to do. So all we are saying is that in all this meaning of the heart in the Bible, as we have just examined, one thing is clear: it is important to guide our hearts towards what is good and pleasing to God. So by doing so, we can live a life of purpose and fulfillment that brings glory to God. Let us therefore strive daily to guide our hearts through prayer in meditation on His word and living out His love towards others. So, the heart, when we refer to it, may talk about the mind, may talk about our thought life, and it will talk about our innermost being, our inclination. And as it relates to this message, we want to specifically talk about our thoughts and our mind as it relates to it. So it is widely recognized that the power of the mind is immense, and that one's thought can have a significant impact on the overall well-being. In order to harness the power and promote productivity or positivity in our life, it is essential to surround ourselves with positive influences. This might include spending time with supportive friends and family members, seeking out uplifting media, or engaging in activities that bring you the joy or fulfillment. So, by cultivating a positive mindset and actively seeking out sources of positivity, you can improve your mental health and overall quality of life. So, why not start today? Take small steps towards surrounding yourself with positivity and see how it can transform your outlook in life. So the heart actually means the mind, and the mind is the one that controls every affair of your life. Take for example, if I instruct you to stand up from where you are sitting at this moment, um, and you get up and stand, and I ask you what is the organ you are standing up with, you're probably going to say it is your leg. But I want to prove to you that it is you are not actually standing with your leg. If I give you same instruction and in your heart you refuse not to obey me, the question is, will your leg stand up? Definitely not. Your leg will not stand up when you refuse not to obey. So what it means is that what made you to stand was actually your mind. So I want to tell you that your hand and your leg are simply accessories that responds to the instruction of your heart or your mind. The major organ, the major initiator is your heart. It is your mind. Whatever is in your mind is the way you're going to behave. And that is why it is important for us to guide the heart. And guiding our heart, of course, we need to recognize where the heart gets its information. The heart is being instructed to act in a particular way by the influence or information that we receive from our parents, our friends, our pastors, our teachers, the society at large. We actually get information to the heart through our eyes, that's the environment, through our ear, that's instruction and information we receive from both friends, parents, and pastors and the rest of them, and of course through our skin as well. Some things we feel in with our skin can register in our heart. So if we really want to guide the heart, we need to look at the origin where the information come from, and see what we can do to ensure that we minimize junk that we accommodate into our heart, because they are the thing that's going to instruct our life the way to go. If you do not guide your heart, I want to tell you, your leg will go to where you don't want to go. If you don't guide your mind, I want to tell you, your hand will do what you don't want to do, because they are simply accessories that respond to the instruction of the heart. What makes you to behave in a particular way is the content of your heart, it is the content of your mind. So I want to tell you about 6 facts about the mind as we proceed. The first one is that um, the mind works according to the mental programming, and it follows the pattern of the most predominant information in the subconscious region or level. Yes, there is the part of our mind that operates below the conscious level. That is to say, you can do that even when you are not aware you are doing it. All right, that is called our subconscious mind. Take, for example, you may be given to a particular direction in your movement, maybe your path to work or your path to church or any other thing that you do regularly. Sometimes you notice that you may not have intention of moving inside that church, but because you are passing through that way, you may unconsciously enter the church or the workplace without knowing. And maybe suddenly you may get to discover, I'm not actually coming to this place, and you move out. What happened? What actually get you into that environment was your subconscious mind. Inside your heart, something have been programmed to work in a particular way, and it moving you towards that direction. So the heart is going to be working according to the mental programming, the way you have instructed it to work, maybe from childhood, maybe from parents, from your pastors, from your friends, from your teachers, and the rest of them. They constantly feed your head with a lot of information, and before you know what is happening, you begin to act in a particular way. We discover that there are some persons that always live with this lack mentality. They live with this lack mentality because they receive lack mentality from their parents and friends. Okay, their parents constantly tell them, "Don't you know that things is hard? Don't you know that Nigerian economy is bad? Don't you know that money doesn't fall on the tree? You don't block money." Constantly, as you feed yourself with this information, your heart is going to adapt a particular way of living. you know Something inside of you is going to tell you that life is hard, and can I tell it's going to be hard for you, because that's what you believe, that's what your mental programming have done, and you're going to be acting towards that direction of the impulses. And that is why we need to guide our heart. So the first thing I want you to note is that your heart's going to work according to the mental programming, and it's going to follow the pattern of the most predominant information that are stored on your subconscious mind. The second thing I want you to note about the mind or the heart is that whether your thought is healthy or unhealthy, they are going to affect every other aspect of your life. That is true. If you feed your heart with positive things, you see positive life. If you feed your heart or mind with negative things, you are going to see negative life. So automatically, whatever is in your mind is going to influence every part of your life. And that is why I come to know that our mind is going to be acting the way we have instructed it to happen through the information we allow on it on a daily basis. So our thoughts influences our life. So whether it is healthy, it's going to have a healthy outcome. If it is unhealthy, you're going to have a healthy outcome. One way to determine the future is actually to look into the content of your heart. You cannot grow in life above the information you stored. So if you are the one who's chasing information and go for it as with every means, with in every available opportunity, you are going to meet a lot of opportunities. But if you are the one who doesn't bother about information, I want to tell you, you are going to see outcome that has to do with lack of information. All right. So the third thing I want you to note about the heart is that your parents, your friends, your pastors, and society are the softwares that tells your mind on how to operate, even without knowing it. Yes, I've emphasized this point earlier, and I said we get information from our parents, friends, and pastors, but they act as software, just like our gadget, our laptops, or our cell phone. We discover that without this application, without softwares, these gadgets will not be able to function in a particular way. For example, phone. If you do not have a call app on your phone will not be able to make call. If you don't have a search engine on your phone, you won't be able to surf the net. The same is true about your mind. What instructs your mind, the software that you use to process different information in your mind, you obtain them from your parents, your pastors, your friend, the people you constantly receive information from. They're going to instruct your mind, they're going to instruct your heart. That's why somebody who is from Nigeria is likely going to be behaving like Nigerians. He won't behave like American because he have never feed himself with American's form of life. So the kind of thing that you allow in your mind is what you are going to see as the outcome of your life. That is true and nothing but the truth, because we actually need information to process information. Yes, we need information to process information. For example, if I speak Chinese language now, if I speak China and you do not understand that language, you're probably going to hear me speaking China. That is to say, you're going to know I'm speaking China. But the point is that you will not understand what I am saying. Why? in your mind there is no you have not installed information that will be able to decode what I'm saying. So we need information to process information. So even if I speak that language from now till tomorrow, I wouldn't be making sense to you, because in your mind there is not pre-stored software that will be able to interpret what I am saying. The same is true about your mind. Until you begin to store certain information, there are information you are going to get, it will not make meaning to you, because in your heart there haven't been any stored information that will be able to interpret that. So that's just like what I'm saying now is going to make sense to some persons, but to many it's not going to make sense, because in their mind they do not even have a quality information that will be able to decode what I'm saying and put them to practice. All right. So they will they're going to hear me, they're going to listen to me, but as for putting them to practice, they wouldn't bother, because there is no preformed information, restored information in their mind that will instruct them to behave or put them to practice. Let me tell you, until what you know becomes what you do, what you know is useless. Yes, information brings about intelligence, but application of the information brings about wisdom. All right. So if you know all the ways to make things happen and you do not put them to practice, you still remain where you are. Okay. If you know all the tips for success and you never practice them, you remain poor. It is not about knowing, it's on our application. So just try as much as you know as you can to understand that your pastors, your friends, the people you listen to, are the software that instruct your mind to work in a particular way. All right. Next thing I want you to note is that your mind is like a gadget and needs regular care and maintenance for it to function to its full potential. Yes, actually, the mind is like a gadget, and it needs constant care for it to work in a particular way. If you do not care about the mind, if you do not care about your heart on a regular basis, of course, the book of Romans chapter 12 verse 2, the Bible said, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Renewing of your mind is said, not to renew the mind. All right. It puts ing renewing to let us know that the subject of renewing of the mind is something that has to go on a daily basis, constantly. It has to be presently continued. All right. So we constantly need to instruct our mind on how to walk, because the truth of the matter is that the mind have the inclination to do something at every point in time. Is part of the point I was going to raise about the mind.